tell me when to start.
You can start now. The live broadcast should have started.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyama Sundar Radhe Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki śamaḥ Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. I welcome all the devotees to this live broadcast from ISKCON Vrindavan Krishna Balram Mandir. So today we are going to be taking the third verse of the 6th chapter. So you can try to repeat after me. ārurukṣor ārurukṣor muner yogaṁ karma kāraṇam ucyate yogārūḍhasya tasyaiva śamaḥ kāraṇam ucyate yogārūṛuksho yogaṁ karma kāraṇam ucyate yogārūḍhasya tasyaiva śamaḥ kāraṇam ucyate. Word meaning: ārurukṣor, who has just begun yoga. Muner of the sages, yogaṁ, the eightfold yoga system, karma, work, kāraṇam, the means, ucyate, is said to be, yoga, eightfold yoga, ārurukṣor, of one who has attained, tasyaiva, his, eva, certainly, śamaḥ, cessation of all material activities, kāraṇam, the means, ucyate, is said to be. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is a neophyte in eightfold yoga system, work, is said to be the means, and one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities, is said to be the means. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. It may be compared to a ladder for attaining the topmost spiritual realization. The ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity and rises up to perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. According to various elevations, different parts of ladder are known by different names. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into three parts, namely Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. The beginning of the ladder is called the yogārūḍhasya stage, and the highest rung is called yogārūḍhasya. Concerning the eightfold yoga system, attempts in the beginning to enter into meditation through regulative principles of life and practice of different sitting postures, which are more or less bodily exercises, are considered fruitive material activities. All such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. When one is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. A Krishna conscious person who is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation, because he always thinks of Krishna and being consistently engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. End of the book. Om Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam dadati swapadantika. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's class on behalf of ISKCON Vrindavan, daily evening classes at Srila Prabhupada's library. These days, these classes are being done on Zoom and also later posted on YouTube. So you are very welcome to join us in the Shri Vrindavan Dham from wherever in the world you are live with us in Vrindavan. So daily verses, we are doing the third verse of the 6th chapter. And the translation one more time is, for one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. Meaning, the eightfold yoga system, as the name stands, has a ladder process from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in this verse, Krishna is trying to gauge the levels. Okay, this is where you start and this is where you end up after the eightfold. They perfectly following the eightfold yoga system. So the where you start is, a neophyte is going to start with work to be the means to perform action. That's where you start. And then Krishna says, and for one who's already elevated in yoga, meaning attained the 8th level of the eightfold yoga system, cessation of all material activities. Now you give up or be satisfied or rise above all material activities. That is the end of the yoga system. Of course, the main end is to connect with Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada says in the first sentence in the purport. The process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. Just this sentence is just so heavenly. So many people in this world, actually the word yoga is a household word in the whole world, although the word yoga is Sanskrit, but this is one of the several Sanskrit words that have become mainstream in every language in the whole world. Everybody recognizes these words such as karma, yoga. There are many such words. But at the same time, yoga is a very mysterious word because most people in this world who understand the word yoga do not understand what yoga means. Most people by yoga just understand like stretching your body, performing the yogasanas. That's it's called in Sanskrit, it's called Ashtanga Yoga. In English, we call it eightfold yoga system, but in Sanskrit, it's called Ashtanga Yoga. So many people, most people understand yoga to be something to do with physical exercise. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada called it gymnastics. They understand yoga to be some physical gymnastics. But just by this one sentence, Srila Prabhupada clears so many doubts of so many people around the world. Yoga may be the best known Sanskrit word in the whole world, but it is at the same time the most misunderstood word in the whole world. And in just this sentence, Srila Prabhupada is clarifying all this mystery around this word, what the word yoga means. Yoga is addition or connection, connecting one and one together. That is yoga. And Srila Prabhupada says the process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. Linking the Atma with the Paramatma is called yoga, or the practice or the efforts of connecting myself with the Supreme, that process is called yoga process. In the next sentence, Srila Prabhupada says, it may be compared to a ladder for attaining topmost spiritual realization. Compared to a ladder means step by step by step by step process of, if it's eightfold yoga process, think of it as a step ladder that has 8 steps. So what do we do when we go to the ladder? We don't start with 4, we don't start with 5, we don't start with 8, we start with 1. From ground, we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So that is like a ladder kind of system. And it may be compared to a ladder for attaining topmost spiritual realization. In the second sentence, this sentence, Srila Prabhupada completely clears what yoga means. Yoga means the process of trying to connect myself to the Supreme. That process is yoga, attaining topmost spiritual realization. In the third sentence, Srila Prabhupada says, this ladder begins from the lowest material condition of living entity and rises to the perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada is explaining the eightfold yoga system, the Ashtanga Yoga, that it begins from the lowest material condition, wherever one is, the lowest material condition of a living entity, and then rising one step at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, to perfect realization in pure spiritual life. Now, Srila Prabhupada calls it a pure spiritual life, because Krishna consciousness is a way of life. Going further, perfect self-realization in spiritual life. According to various elevations, different parts of ladder are known by different names. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into three kinds of yoga, namely Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. That is also three portions of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, and it's equally divided among these three yogas. Each portion has 6 chapters. So the first 6 chapters are mainly dedicated to Jnana Yoga. The next 6 chapters are mainly dedicated to Dhyana Yoga, and the next 6 chapters are dedicated to Bhakti Yoga. The beginning of the ladder is called the yogarūṛukshu stage. Rurukshu, like the Shishu. Shishu is little baby, the tiniest little baby is Shishu. And that Shishu, this shu comes from Shishu, or Shishu is made up of that. Shu is the beginning, and also in Sanskrit, the beginning of something is called shuru. So this shu kind of wants to stand for a beginning. A shishu, a body of a shishu, is a beginning of that body's life cycle to grow into a bigger baby, and so on. So this yogarūṛukshu stage is called, that's the beginning stage. The beginning stage is called yogarūṛukshu, and the highest stage is called yogārūḍha. Yogārūḍha. In the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains, concerning the eightfold yoga system, attempts in the beginning to enter into meditation through regulative principles of life and practice of different sitting postures, different kind of sitting postures. Like one sitting posture is called sukhasana. In English, we call it just simple sitting down on the floor, cross-legged, is called sukhasana. And now, if you place the one foot, let's say the right foot on top of the left thigh, that would be called half a um, um, half a kamalasana. And now if you take the left foot and place it on the right thigh, then that becomes a full kamalasana. So so on it goes. You keep changing the sitting postures, and there are names for all these postures and all these practices, and there are physical benefits to these postures, as well as some mental concentration kind of benefits of sitting in these different asanas, or say asanas. Srila Prabhupada says, which are more or less bodily exercise. So these postures are considered to be fruitive material activities. That's where you begin, with the fruitive material activities, Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Concerning the eightfold yoga system, attempts in the beginning to enter the meditation through the regulator principles of life and practice different sitting postures. So that practicing different sitting postures is like a beginning into the yoga system, which are more or less bodily exercises. And these are considered fruitive material activity. Why fruitive material activity? Because fruitive activity is, I do this and I gain this. I perform this activity, you pay me this much. I do this for you, you do this for me. This is fruitive activity, exchange. Usually these days it's done for money. But these yoga practices, they are for attaining maybe a better physical health, more endurance, something or the other, which is a physical benefit, material benefit that comes to this body, stays with this body, and when we leave this body, it stays back. All the fruitive activity, everything that we gain by definition, fruitive activity is like that. Anything and everything we would gain by fruitive activity is going to benefit the body and stay with the body and burn with the body or be buried with the body. Is not going to go with your soul. That is basic definition of fruitive activity. If it's going to go with your soul, it's going to benefit your soul, it wouldn't be called fruitive, would it? All such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. So you're trying to attain the mental equilibrium to control the senses. The senses, the eyes want to see something. You're trying to concentrate on this point, and the eyes, they want to see what's happening over here, what's happening over here, what's up, what's down. So by restricting with these activities, trying to restrict your senses into doing all of them, doing one thing at a time. When one is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. So, constantly engaged, when one is accomplished in practicing of meditation, he ceases all disturbing activities, meaning the senses are not disturbed anymore. I want to focus completely on this little dot, and my eyes don't move. Just concentrate on this little dot. And my ears just want to hear the silence, don't want to hear anything else. And my tongue, stop it for now. Don't ask for any tastes. Just I'm trying to meditate right now. So in different ways, on different levels, we try to control all these senses, and that once you attain that level that the senses are not disturbed anymore, or you're not disturbed by the senses or any of the urge of the senses, then that would be called the accomplished in the practice of meditation. Now, the final paragraph is the Krishna conscious paragraph. So far, we were into the Dhyana Yoga, explaining the Dhyana Yoga. Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the first two paragraphs. Now he says, a Krishna conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation because he always thinks of Krishna. So what is the difference between the transcendental meditation that we are trying to do or achieve and what these other yogis are trying to achieve? They try to concentrate on this one dot, which is nothing, and or full of nothing. Whereas similarly, we are trying to concentrate not on a dot, but on Krishna, who is the most attractive, the most powerful, the most loving, and so on. So it is so much easier because in this chapter up to verse 32 or something, Krishna will explain this whole process. But then comes Arjuna Uvacha. What does Arjuna say? Arjuna says, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical. It appears impractical and unendurable to me. I can't do it." Arjuna is completely rejecting this process. And he says, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Because our minds are restless and unsteady, we cannot follow this Dhyana Yoga system. It is, what is it? Impractical. And it's unendurable. I can't do it. It just cannot be done. So here, Srila Prabhupada is giving an alternative. What we do, how we, in a way, we can say how we follow the Dhyan Yoga system is a Krishna conscious person is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation because he's always thinking of Krishna. Instead of thinking of a dot, we think of Krishna. How can we serve a dot? How can we talk to a dot? How can we converse with a dot? How can we connect to a dot? Whereas connecting with Krishna, serving Krishna, performing devotional service for Krishna is an ultimate way to connect with the Supreme. So perform the action, but perform the action in Krishna consciousness is the ultimate. And in the next sentence, Srila Prabhupada says, and being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. How do we cease all material activity? How do we control our senses without controlling our senses? How do we achieve what Arjuna is explaining to be impractical and unendurable? How can we do it? We do it by putting Krishna in the center. How do we put Krishna in the center? Meditation, always think of Krishna. Man mana mad bhakto. Always think of me, Krishna says. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and you'll definitely come to me. And being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, that is devotional service. Bhakti, pure devotional service, seva, and so on. So instead of a karmi serving or trying to serve his own senses, a devotee tries to serve the senses of the Supreme. Instead of trying to serve the needs of me and my family, a devotee tries to serve the needs of Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. So, how long can you perfectly survive meditating on a dot? The dot will become boring very quickly. Whereas Krishna consciousness is not boring. It's not boring at all. Krishna consciousness is a lot of fun. We are, in a way, enjoying all of our senses, but we are doing it for Krishna as a service to Krishna, and that is our perfection. That, let's say, we want gulab jamun, we can have gulab jamun left over in Krishna's plate. So have the gulab jamun and eat it too. So the process of devotional service, process of bhakti, process of Krishna consciousness is putting Krishna in the center, serving Krishna, enjoying with Krishna, which is not boring, it is not impractical, it is not unendurable. It's called yukta vairagya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Sharanagati process, Danya Atma Nivedana Goptratve Varana Avasya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palana Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangikara. So we accept everything which is conducive to our devotional service, and we reject everything that is inconducive or not conducive to our devotional service. That is yukta vairagya. We have vairagya, but we are also perfectly situated. We're not going to get bored serving because we do that all the time. We are servants. If we don't serve Krishna, we will serve Maya. So one way or the other, we will serve and serve and serve and serve. Now, the option is to serve Krishna or serve Maya. Maya is Thagni. No matter how much you serve Maya, Maya is going to take everything away from you at any moment. Whereas Krishna will never leave you alone. That's why one of the principles of Sharanagati is Avasya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palana. Krishna will always, always, always protect you. Should be a firm faith of a devotee in Krishna consciousness. So, in conclusion, Srila Prabhupada is, in this verse, Krishna is giving basically the summary of the eightfold system, yoga system, the Ashtanga Yoga, where it begins and where it ends. And Srila Prabhupada, in the last paragraph, is explaining that a Krishna conscious person, however, situated from the beginning of the platform of meditation, because always thinking of Krishna. So we follow this dhyan yoga kind of process in a Krishna conscious way. It is not that we are not completely into dhyan yoga. We are in a way, but in a Krishna conscious form of a dhyan yoga system. Srila Prabhupada says how a Krishna conscious person follows the dhyan yoga system is by meditating on Krishna, always thinking of Krishna. We have 3 golden rules. All of you know. Rule number 1 is always remember Krishna. Rule number 2 is never forget Krishna. And rule number 3 is if you forget Krishna, go to rule number 1. So one more time. Rule number 1 is always remember Krishna. Rule number 2 is never forget Krishna. And rule number 3 is if you forget Krishna, go back to rule number 1. These are 3 simple rules in life that will make you Krishna conscious firmly along with your sadhana bhakti process. We chant the holy name in the prescribed Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Follow that process of chanting the 16 minimum rounds a day, 2 hours a day of meditation on Krishna's name. And the rest of the 22 hours, we try to serve Krishna in so many different ways. Whatever our capacity, whatever our propensity, we are trying to serve Krishna and become Krishna conscious and perfect this life so that we are situated in Krishna's service eternally, no matter where in this world. Because in Krishna consciousness, devotees don't ask Krishna for anything except devotional service. Nothing except devotional service. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavata bhakti ahetuki tvai. Life after life, birth after birth. All I want is devotional service unto your lotus feet, O Krishna. That's all. I don't want dhanam. I don't want anything physical, material, any money or any material wealth. Na janam, neither do I want a high birth. Give me a birth in the heavenly planets. Give me a birth in the Mahar Loka, the Tak Loka, the Jan Loka, the Satya Loka, or the Vaikuntha Loka for that matter. We don't ask for that. Or give me a birth in Golok. No, we don't ask for that. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Neither do I want a beautiful woman, or for women, I don't want a handsome man. That is not my desire. What is the desire? Birth after birth, I just want to serve your lotus feet, O Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if there is any questions, we would be happy to take any questions from anyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, if there's any questions, you may unmute and ask your questions.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, for a devotee who's in the very, very preliminary stage of Krishna consciousness, when he's not performing his sadhana very well and his japa is also not going very well, can we say that the person is still Krishna conscious? What is his position?
Srila Prabhupada says, as long as you are trying to be Krishna conscious, become Krishna conscious, and or stay in Krishna consciousness, you are Krishna conscious. Of course, you don't want to just stay there. You want to make progress. Just like a student is a student. If the student is achieving top results, is top of the class or top of the university or top of the nation or whatever, and a student is still a student if he is or she is passing a few subjects and flunking a few, still a student. It doesn't change the fact that the person is a student. It's trying.
Prabhuji, there's one more doubt I have. In the slide, where will you place a devotee who's art or artharti? Like these people are wanting something, but you just said that a pure devotee or a Krishna conscious person, he doesn't want any dhanam, janam, or strim, whatever. So all
Yeah.
not wanted by him. So how can I take this verse? How can I understand this?
I didn't understand the question.
The question is like there are many devotees who approach Krishna with some desires also, like
Oh,
art person
oh,
or artharthi person. So
yes.
can we place them in Krishna conscious position only?
Not really. Uh,
Okay.
and you can also, like, there
Mm.
are examples in the Shastra that there were devotees who came to Krishna because they were Artharthi, just like Dhruv Maharaj, for example, was
Yes.
Artharthi. He wasn't a
Yes.
devotee. He didn't
Yes.
go to Krishna
Yes.
because he wanted to attain Krishna or lifetime of devotional service. He wanted a
Yes.
kingdom better than
Yes.
his father's. So he was absolutely Artharthi, but
Yes.
still he went to Krishna. And when he had darshan of Krishna
Yes.
or Lord Vishnu, he realized that what I wanted was really insignificant in front
Okay.
of what I'm receiving here. So if I am always only going to Krishna to ask for more, 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 and more, and I call myself a devotee,
Yeah.
um, really, uh, that's a long shot. I'm
Yeah.
not really
Yes.
a devotee.
Yes.
I'm just, trying to do business. Okay, I offer you this prashadam, or I offer you this donation, and you
Yes.
do this for me. Oh, I went to the temple today. What did you go to
Yes.
ask for? Oh, I asked for this, and this. That kind of mentality. We don't call that devotion, but it's better than nothing.
So such a devotee will be called as ārurukṣor, not
I don't
yogarūḍhasya.
I don't call them a devotee.
Yeah.
A devotee means
Yeah.
somebody who has come to a realization
Yeah.
that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam,
Yeah.
and Krishna has already given me a lot. I
Yeah.
should be thankful to Krishna rather than begging Krishna for this and that. And of course, if somebody lacks basic necessities and they go and ask Krishna for basic necessities, I don't
Yes.
blame them. I mean, who else are they going to ask?
Yeah.
Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he likes all four of them: Arti, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani. He accepts
Yes.
all of them.
Yes.
Krishna has a big heart. He accepts them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't fit a devotee
Yeah.
category.
Okay.
They just want, and want.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Does that
Thank you.
help?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank
It
you.
was a wonderful class. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other
Hare Krishna.
question?
Any other
Yes.
comments or please ask.
Once again, we welcome everybody who joined us for the class.
All right. It looks like that's it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare
Jagat
Krishna.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand.